Alright, first of all, quick update about the fucking Lost Sector shits, because, obviously I've been uploading in 2 months. Long story short, I kind of got bored, didn't want to do it anymore. That's pretty much it. Like, I do these for fun, or for, like, pseudo guides, but obviously I just got bored, because there really wasn't much else I could do that was different, because, I used to do all 3 characters with 3 different loadouts every time, and I don't know. My brain already got fried, so that's pretty much it if you're here for the update. This video is just going to be some master runs for the Veles Labyrinth Lost Sector. This is going to be like a pseudo guide too, just talking about, my thought process, shit like that. But long story short, it really is just knowledge and practice. Like, for instance, when I first started doing Lost Sector, like, there's no fucking way I could do this shit. Like, just like Shattered Throne, for instance. I remember, like, there's no fucking way I can solo Shattered Throne. Now I can, like, do Shattered Throne in my fucking sleep. It's really just practice, throwing time at it, and just learning from your mistakes, and knowing, like, enemy spawn, stuff like that. And it sounds like, oh, that's all that, it's so complicated, but no, it's like, trust me, it's really easy. Like, you'll remember half this crap. Like, for instance, even with the Lost Sectors, like, you do them enough, you'll memorize, like, where things spawn. Although, for instance, with champions, as I'll show, they have different behaviors just for whatever reason, so it's not always the same, but, that's how it is. Anyways, I'm real fucking tired of, holy shit, that's actually really good. Because I have a solar one. I did not fucking. It's basically, I have a build with this. I used it in one of my other videos where I had a max discipline. I was just chucking fusion grenades. This is actually really good of impulse recycler too, because you don't have to use firepower, which is like a 5. I think it's a solar charger light mod. It's like 5 or something or some crap. I don't even remember. Anyways, it's not even the point of this fucking video. The point is Lost Sectors, right? Master Lost Sectors. First things first. Should you run a Master Lost Sector? No. Because even though it's as common, usually by the time it takes you to finish one Master, you could run like 2 Legends. Right? And there's also a chance to get fucking nothing. Not even Glimmer, just like nothing. So it's really not worth the extra, because there's extra modifiers, extra champions, more health, and another thing to take into account, I'm fortunate enough to have my light level high enough where I don't have the swords with the skulls over them, but when the season restarts, like, I'm going to be, like, 30 below them, so now it becomes significantly harder. So, again, I don't even, unless you want the triumphs, don't even attempt to, like, you can attempt it, but I don't see a point. I think Legends are just easier and faster, but it's up to you. But let's say, for whatever reason, you want to run Legend Lost Sector, right? Obviously, first of all, you got to find one. Couple spots. This might change in the future. They might add Nestus or some other fucking place, but it can be on Europa. It can be on the EDZ and any of these Lost Sectors. Actually, not any. I don't think I've ever seen them in the Hollow Grove or like any of these Taken ones. But I've seen like on like this pattern, like just like maybe it's not all the Lost Sectors on EDZ because it's so big, but all the Lost Sectors here. Obviously, there's Veles Labyrinth right there. It can be the Tangled Shore in this one, which is this is the only one. And then obviously the Moon Lost Sector. So that's where you're gonna look if you can't find it. Another important thing is you have to have the Lost Sector unlocked first. Like, for instance, on my Titan, I don't have all these Lost Sectors unlocked. So if it was like Excavation Site, and you see how this one's like not grayed out. If it was this one for the Lost Sector, I wouldn't be able to see it because I haven't completed it yet. So you might at least want to grab one character and do all the Lost Sectors just in case. Anyways, so yeah, first things first is, all right, what the fuck? Lost Sector, let's see. I know it's the Labyrinth one. It's on the EDZ. No, it's not Cosmic. So, now with the modifiers, okay. First of all, champion mods. Barrier Unstoppable. This might change season to season, but you need to have those. Basic, right? Fire Pit means when you kill an Acolyte, they drop a pool of fire, which is important in some of these Lost Sectors where you're going to be close quarters. Solar, so I take increased solar damage and increased AoE damage. Okay. Chaff, no radar, and I think I take increased melee damage. And then Burn is arc damage. Now, sometimes they'll tell you the shield here, and I will die on the sill. I will always, unless, in this case in particular, this is where I ignore the shield, I will always match the elemental, my primary to the shield that's prevalent there. Like, for instance, if the modifier is Hot Knife, that means all Shanks are going to have solar shields, and there's Lost Sectors with like a ton of Shanks in them. So even though Burn might be void, I'm still going to run at least a solar primary so I can deal with all the Shanks. Plus, it's easy shield break charge for Charge of Light mods. In this case, there is one solar shield, and that is the wizard at the end. So honestly, I just ignore it and I just go into the arc. I just use the arc burn. because I'll have more than enough time, and he won't really aggro unless you like try to get too close. So that's why for this one in particular, I ignore the shield type. But my advice is every time you do a lost sector, pay attention to what kind of shield you see, because it's always going to be match game, because it's a master and also extra shields too. So it always helps. If you really have trouble, you could just switch to like a solar scout, like the Pleads Corrector, or Polaris Lance or Vision if you did the raid. So there's that. So now, a little thing I like to do is I always like to use exotics. So I usually look for exotics that are intrinsic, or just like if I'm not using an intrinsic exotic with an intrinsic barrier or champion mod, I just use that exotic heavy. So like for instance, this is why I like this, because your gauntlets are usually taken up by the champion mods, and you don't really have a lot of flex spots. In this case, I won't run fastball because it fucks up my muscle memory or some grenades. But long story short, I got an anti-barrier scout and I got Bastion. Bastion has intrinsic unstoppable, so what that allows me to do is to not use, I have an armor mod free, so if I want to use fastball, I can. In this case, I'll show you a different thing though. Where's Leviathan's Breath? It's like, Leviathan's Breath is. That might actually be on my Warlock, I think. Yeah, it's probably my Warlock, whatever. Anyways, so yeah, for instance, like let's take actually, I'm gonna go grab it real quick. As per usual, I'm very good with my very scripted, very high quality productions. Uh, but the reason why I said like I'd use in some cases I might use like a Leviathan's Breath or something is my scout right here has disruption break, and disruption break does apply to barrier champions, not just shields. So when you break a shield, you do increase damage with kinetic weapons. It's actually 50%, which is pretty significant. So normally I'd pair this with like a sniper or like a slug shotgun, but with Veles Labyrinth in particular, Bastion doesn't really have the greatest range, so I can't really take advantage of disruption break. So usually, like that's what I'd say. I'd pair like Leviathan's Breath in my heavy slot. Use this, so I have unstoppable in my heavy, barrier right here, and then I can use like a sniper, kinetic sniper, to get that bonus. So that's how I think about stuff like that too. Um, but yeah, in terms of like just future proofing, always having a disruption break, scout, pulse, or auto. Usually, because I've seen anti-barrier, scout, pulse, and auto. Like you're pretty much good. I've seen there's been disruption break fusions in shotguns, or I think that's shield disoriented, but I've never seen those as an anti-barrier thing. But yeah. Hold on. Yeah, that's on my warlock. Here we go. Yeah, so there's that. So that's how I think about the weapons. I usually try to use an exotic that has something intrinsic. If I want to, like, use a special weapon in my kinetic special, or, have a free slot open if I want to use something like bolstering detonation for a void arm piece or something. Or, again, you can just, I use, the safer bet is to run double primary because you don't have to worry about ammo constraints for the most part. But again, with Veles Labyrinth, it's a really short loss sector, so running out of primary really never happens, like, at all. So, there's that. Also, now the important thing is subclass choice and what the fuck you're gonna use. So it's arc burn, and since I don't have to worry about any arc shields or any, there's only one solar shield, I can run with an arc subclass. Now, you could run Cloak with a Missile and then have Cures the Falling Star for the super and run max intellect. I personally don't like to do that because this lost sector is short enough where you really won't get your super even if you're killing everything, or by the time you get your super at the end. So I guess you could argue for that. But I usually like to opt into neutral exotics for the most part because you're going to be. It's like the reason why I usually run exotic primaries too, is that you're going to be using it more often, and that's how you get your most bang out your buck, in my opinion. So the reason I'm using Heart of Inmost Light is two things. One, when I use an ability, it recharges and makes my other ability stronger. So for instance, if I cast my barricade, my grenade will do more damage and I think last longer, some crap, or I mean recharge faster, right? And vice versa. If I use my melee, my grenade and my barricade will have more health and all. That's how it works, right? This exotic benefits from you using your abilities more. Well, that's why I'm using Top Treat, because Top Treat comes with aftershocks and where's the one? Oh, actually, I think aftershocks. Where? Yeah, magnitude and aftershocks. So long story short, magnitude gives you basically a free armamentarium. So I get two grenades, and then aftershocks, or not. Sorry, it's one of these. Holy shit. Oh no, it's on the same slot. Yeah. So this gives me another grenade and increases the duration and effects of my other grenades. So that means this will pulse for longer, this will blind for longer, and this will like shoot lightning for longer. So this pairs perfectly with Hard Most Light, and that's why I also run Max Discipline, so I can get my grenades faster. Like I know this will help me get them back faster, but just in case for whatever reason I can't like use my barricade or something, or I don't have or both my grenades are on cooldown, this will help me out. And then I have high resilience, so I can get my barricade kind of fast. Again, you can do this on any class. I just happen to choose Titan because I feel like playing Titan right now. Like, sure, some class might have it easier, but you can do it on any character. Another big thing too is I have Masterwork armor, which does allow me to do things that you couldn't. But for instance, let's just say let's say I didn't have it Masterwork. Like, let's say I had like 8 or 9. I could still fit most of my build on here. Like, for this Lucent Blade is not even. It's just here for fucking for whatever. I think it's just to have reactive pulse. But long story short, another thing you probably don't want to do is use like these mods right here for your stats. Like I'm doing it because I'm fucking stupid and I don't feel like whatever. But normally you shouldn't probably run our model right here. Might so you have more space for your ammo finders and shit. But normally like let's say I had space. Let's say like I have like maybe 7 energy. Usually I run an ammo finder for my heavy, my special, and then I'd run like Charge of Light mod. So this would be 3. I think shotgun or I think fusion rifles are 2. So this would be 5, and then protective light. So this would be 7, which 7's pretty reasonable. I think you might need like a prism or something, but those aren't the hardest to come by for doing like if you're doing a master lost sector. I assume you can do master nightfalls, right? Like I assume you can at least get that. So yeah, like most of this, like I know I have masterwork stuff, but honestly, if you just cut down on these mods, you'd probably be able to fit what I'm using here. But for the only things that actually matter would be the resistance mods. Resistance mods are very good and they're very crucial. And then Sundering Blast, which is free damage on champions and very good for barrier champion barrier servers because you kill shit around them. Also, I don't know if like they can stack. Like I know you can put them together. I don't know if the damage or I know the blast radius doesn't increase it, but I'm not sure about the damage. So I just double stack them because why not? For scavenger, I'm on console, so I always have to. For me, traction is a must because it fucking feels horrible to turn without traction. Normally, you could run 2 scavengers. I usually run a scavenger for my heavy because special drops often enough that I don't feel like I need a scavenger for it. Heavy's more rare. That's how I think about it. But yeah, and then obviously your gauntlets have fucking barrier mods. So I've been talking long enough. I'm just gonna go fucking do the Lost Sector. Eternal Blazen's a world drop, or I think it comes from the Vanguard, or something. It was from last season. I can't remember, but it's still. I'm pretty sure it's still in the loot pool. Sleepless you can get from the Dreaming City by doing any activity, but if you want a Vorpal weapon, you have to go into the Shattered Throne. And before you know, you're like, oh, I have to do Shattered Throne. As long as you have a bounty and you open it in the Shadow, like let's say as soon as you load in and you open it in, you have a chance to get Vorpal on any weapon that drops in the that you know what I mean, any weapon you get to that bounty. Because for when you load into the Shadow Throne, it thinks it for some reason makes a bounty like weapon drop with the Shadow Throne perk pool. So there you go. It's not really an optimal role, but Vorpal's really nice. I use Major Spec because champions actually count as majors, not as bosses. So that's why. And then obviously I'm using Bastion for the innate unstoppable, just because I feel like using Bastion. I really don't use this gun. I think it's pretty neat. Anyways, I've literally been going on for fucking 13 minutes. Like holy shit. Let's see. Yeah. Nope. Well, like I said, with master stuff, you got like I used to get tilted because like, oh man, I have to do this flawless, whatever, whatever. You're gonna die. Eventually, you're gonna make a mistake, or an ad's gonna fucking teleport when it's not supposed to, or they're gonna have perfect aim. You're gonna die, and it's all right because in a master lost stage, as long as you don't waste your lives, you can take a death or 3, right? It's fine. Um, the most important part is just trying to learn from your mistakes, or sometimes you really are just unlucky. So it's all right to take things slow. You have about 15 minutes until all your revives are taken away. So it's like not the worst thing in the world. I think the longest lost sector I've ever done was probably the moon one, because I wasn't used to that. I think it was like the K1. I'm going the wrong way. Wait, am I? I'm going the right way. Yeah. It's like it's backwards in Nova. But yeah. I'm not really good at making guides because my brain just fucking goes like everywhere. I'm pretty scatterbrained when it comes to explaining shit. Because I'll go off on a tangent on one thing and forget to finish up something else. That's why it's like it's a lot better like if I was talking to someone that I could answer their specific questions, but like a general thing, like I'm not really good at explaining shit like that. Also, interesting, I don't know if this is just with hard Inmost Land in general, I should probably test it out, but I don't actually have to get a kill with my shoulder charge to actually get empowered. As long as I get a melee, even if it's like, even if this thing isn't charged, I can actually get an empowered mode. Like, I'll wait for it to go away. Just to see I don't have a melee charge, so it gives me empowered. I don't know if that's just intrinsic to hard Inmost Light, like just any melee, even if it's not charged will give you that. Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, with this weird guide amalgamation, I'm assuming you have like decent weapons. Like I'm not expecting you to have, you know, Anarchy with the perfect god roll, first in, last out, in a heritage or whatever. Like I won't count raid weapons because I know not a lot of people like to raid, or not a lot of people do raid. But like for instance, Eternal Blazon is a world drop. Bash you can get from the kiosk. Sleepless you can get from just doing something in Dreaming City. That isn't too. I don't think that's too ridiculous to ask. And this isn't even in the optimal loadout. Like, Bastion is just here for fucking, like, because I want to use it, not because it's good or anything. It's an alright champion weapon, but I wouldn't use it. Like, if you really want to use a champion weapon, I'd use a Wither Horde with Unstoppable and Breach and Clear, or Anarchy with Unstoppable, Breach and Clear, and then some other, you know what I mean? Like, this loadout I'm using isn't the most optimal. It's just what I like to use, and I have the most fun with, because that's the entire point. Because I could do these lost sectors like forever, I guess, but it'd be really boring if I use like the same shit every time. So that's why I like to mix it up sometimes. Also, your equipment's locked too, which is very fun because let's say you forgot to equip a mod or something, you gotta go back to orbit. So Veles Labyrinth, the easiest way not to get lost is you hug the right side. So just keep walking this way. There's gonna be some thrall that come through here. It is shafts, so I have to be careful with these guys. Okay, so you're just gonna keep hugging, and you see this light, just keep hugging the right, keep hugging the right. There are gonna be some thralls you hear over there, they won't touch you. If you just keep hugging the right, hugging the right, hugging the right, and then you know you're good because there's a tunnel that goes down. Now this part's kind of weird because the bear champion has like some different behavior. Sometimes he'll run straight up, other times he'll be very staggered. So I like to put a barrier and just chuck my fucking pulses down here. Because they're empowered, they do actually pretty significant damage. Like normally, he would actually be here by now. Like I've had some runs where he just is instantly there. Like now he took his time. So again, it depends. So if he's late or, you know, whatever, I like to back up. Now the annoying part is there's still going to be like cursed thrall and stuff spawning, so I just keep chucking my grenades. That's why I have max intellect. Just keep chucking my grenades. Keep chucking my grenades. You have to be very careful because it's arc burn and he does arc AoE and obviously solar. I think solar and AoE damage increase, and I think as well as arc. Like ideally, I'd have an arc chest piece instead of a solar one. Now honestly, he will actually come all the way up here. You can also finish this guy to get him out your face. Yeah, so you see how he came all the way up here? Like this isn't... Yeah, okay, and the Sundering Blast got him, nice. That's why I run Sundering Blast, because it just kill shit around it. I could go in for the finisher, but that's pretty risky, so I'm just gonna keep using this. Get a free empowered, so I can grenade comes back faster. Technically, like, if you want to speedrun this, you can run past all the thralls and kill the barrier champion later, if that's what you want to do. But like I said, for me, it's all about just nice and slow. Sure, deaths really don't matter here, but, you know. Also Bastion, so you can do this. Now what I forgot to do is I forgot to do this, and then chuck my pulse. And I already fucked it up. And yeah, see, he likes to teleport too. These ogres will fuck you up. I know that's not an empowered barricade, but even if it was, it did break pretty fast. So you just free fire Bastion, chuck this on him, and he's just gonna die. Another, like, behavior variation, sometimes a barrier will like to chill up here and start shooting at you, and if he does that, I literally just come back here and I take care of the Unstoppable first. But yeah, like, it's literally just like you're playing a Master Knife. You just gotta be very patient, use your scout, Yeah, use cover when you can. Like, you see how he's coming out here? Most of my, like, this is, I don't know if this is rare, but usually when I run this, he never comes out this far. He usually just stays in the back. So that's why it's not always the same. Also, I kill the acolytes because their fucking grenades are annoying. And you see all the special I have on the ground, that's why I don't really run a special ammo finder. Although you could be unlucky, just not have any. So I like to pop a barricade down here. So I get some cover, I can fall back and then just chuck my grenades. It's 1, 2. He's gonna put up his barrier soon. I don't have to use my rocket here. There you go. Now these guys are gonna come over. Now you can do this with your shoulder charge. I don't recommend doing this if you want to go flawless, but this has an AoE and it gives you grenades back, so you can just chuck another one right there. Yeah, I already have my suit. So the cool thing about Bastion being an unstoppable and it's a fusion is since it fires 3 volleys, you can actually, like you can actually, if you'll see, because there's 2 unstoppables coming up, I can actually go like this and hit both of them at the same time. A Leviathan's Breath can do that, but Leviathan's Breath, the reason why it's actually a really bad unstoppable champion weapon is that most of the damage comes from the initial like big arrow hitting them, and then the explosion's the extra like cherry on top damage. But because unstoppables have innate damage reduction until you stun them, like you'll notice how my first Bastion volley only did like fucking 300. Oh, that was a not. Yeah, because they have like such a extreme damage reduction on the initial hit, Leviathan's Breath basically becomes like the damage basically becomes like nullified to a certain extent. That's why it's really bad as an unstoppable barrier or unstoppable weapon. Like yeah, you can hit multiple unstoppable champions, but it's really slow and it's really hard to take a second shot without getting murdered. So that's why it's not really good for unstoppable stuff. It's still pretty good in general play because it's a guaranteed stagger or anything that's unshielded. Pretty good if you ask me, but it's not good for unstoppable. Like honestly, they either make it so that the initial bolt doesn't get affected by the damage reduction, or for whatever reason, if it doesn't if there's it's messing with like the engine or something, just make it so that most of the damage comes from the explosion, not the actual bolts. Because the explosion damage, I believe, is unaffected because you're already stunned them by the time you hit him with the arrow. So this guy's affected by disruption break, so I can just do this. Also, very important about this dude. Do not step in that fucking green ring, because then he'll start to fire and that portal will open and champions will start spawning early. So I like to kill his ass first before I actually get any call. Like this range, you're good. He's not gonna attack you. I think he might, but like I wouldn't. Nah, I don't think. I'm gonna try to grab this ammo for the champion spawn. That was actually really risky. So I like to back up all the way up here, throw this out, and let them come into me. Because the unstoppables will just aggro to you, and you just let them come. That was a bad bolt, but I'm just gonna let it do that. See now it does you see how it does 850 or whatever. Done to one. Yep, the blast got him. I stunned this other one. I'm just gonna keep backing up. Again, you can't the only champions you can restun consistently are barriers. Unstoppables and overloads actually have a grace period where they can't get restunned again. And you can see by the ring will go white or something. Oh, and you can't stun him. Alright, he's done. Very simple. Now, this is where the super comes in. So with this super, the higher you jump, the more damage your Fist of Havoc will do, and you also leave a longer trail of the pulsating whatever lightning shit because of the aftermath. So you can do it 2 ways. Now I don't know if empowerment actually affects the he's actually zooming. I don't know if the empowerment actually affects the damage of the super. I like to think it does. But honestly, you don't even have to use it. Again, if you're trying to go for flawless, you can be safe and, just chuck some rockets at him. Do ooh, almost killed myself there. Do it like that. Or you can, be like an ape and just do this. Because the DR will usually save you from him, I think. Yeah, it's not that bad. I think you just use it to escape. Also, another good thing, I guess another tip, is you can just use your super just to get out of tight spots, like for the damage reduction. You can just use it just to get out. Yeah. See, I got an enhancement core for fucking... What is that? I can't even see the timer. Oh, I did it flawless. I wasn't even paying attention. I thought I died earlier. Yeah, I did that in 7 minutes. Normally, Veil's Labyrinth on Legend takes me 2 minutes. So, I could quite literally run 3 Legends in the time it took me to do 1 Master. Now, granted, this isn't the most optimal loadout, and I can go a lot faster if I wasn't talking, yada, yada, yada. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's worth the extra time for that increased chance. It doesn't, whatever. So now I'm gonna do it with a sniper to show you what I was talking about earlier with like disruption break and Leviathan's breath. So the cool thing too about Leviathan's breath is that the ammo for it's actually really easy to come by because ammo finder for bows, like I know it says it's only for primaries, but it does work on bows and Ariana's Vow, I believe, because I have seen like the ammo finder bricks, because you can tell because they're a little bit bloated and they have a line coming out, like it's a little faded. But I have seen ammo finder bricks drop for Ariana's Vow when I use hand cannon and bow for when I use Leviathan's breath. So I think it works, maybe it doesn't. But yeah, let me show you what I'm talking about. So because I'm using a heavy that can cover unstoppable now, I can use this, and now I have unstoppable, barrier, and then I have succession, which will pair nicely with my disruption break because I get 50% bonus damage to this, which is pretty cool. And like yeah, you could do it like that, or a slug shotgun. I just recommend that. I'm gonna put on arrow scavenger too, even though I honestly could put on sniper scavenger because Leviathan breath ammo is really easy, and I have the master that gives me more inventory size, which is increased, ammo reserve. But like I said, the worst feeling is running out of something to stun a champion with. Like you can kill an unstoppable without unstoppable rounds. It's going to be very hard because of damage reduction. You can kill a barrier without barrier rounds. Obviously, it's a Nagi divinity, but you're playing solo, so it's really hard. So yeah, like I'm just double checking anti-barrier, everything's good. Probably should masterwork this fucking thing, but nope, too lazy. Oh, whoop, forgot to put on major spec. Like I said, I'll probably upload a non-commentary run of this. If you don't want to hear my annoying voice, stuff like that's, yeah, I'll probably just do that. But yeah, that's like I said, I could do commentary for all these lost sectors if you really wanted to, or I mean, I just might just do it because I literally have the entire day off, so I might do it for the next because it's almost what reset time right now. I think it's around 1 o'clock for where I live, so that means the lockers are gonna rotate over and shit. Yeah. Didn't even heed my own advice. Just fucking ran right through. Yeah, but you see how like I'm lucky my aim drops usually, so I don't have to worry about that. Now I will say I probably should use Long Shadow because Succession's a Deepstone Crypt weapon, so I probably should have done that. But you'll see slightly less damage because you're not using an aggressive frame. So I mean, I don't know why don't people rate it? Is it because like the stigmatism, like the LFG trauma, or is it because you think raids are hard? Because I used to like do. I mean, I still do raid carry sometimes, like in my spare time. Like, because raids are not that bad. They're actually very easy. I think there's grandmasters that are harder than raids. Like I said, Vault of Glass is very straightforward. If you can count to 6, you're good. Or count to 7, sorry, because the oracles. And you can remember basic patterns, you're solid. I don't know. These guys usually come out staggered too sometimes. I'm used to fucking Apex right now where I can hold down a bow forever. Ooh, that's not good. Me missing all my shots too is not good. Alright, is that everything? Nope. Walk past me? Yes, okay. Sometimes they will explode though. I don't know, like, I wouldn't count on just you standing still. Okay, this is definitely, yeah, see how this is a lot different? Because usually these guys are much further back by those boxes. Like over there to, where my reticle is. Like, yeah, this is definitely different. That's what I'm saying, not everything in these lost sectors will be the same. So, you gotta adjust accordingly. See how, like, I did like a lot less damage there? This is my heavy fuck. I was like, oh, where's my sleepless? Yeah, see how, now I can restart. I would go for the finisher, but because you could expose yourself to these guys. I know I have the bulwark shield, whatever, but even though it protects you from doing the finisher, you're still left in a bad spot because the overshield disappears after. So it's not. It's like more of an emergency shit, but I wouldn't use it reliably to save my ass. 20 at 20. So I was like 28. I think I normally do like 18 something. And then for these guys, that little arc pulse was my reactive pulse. So that's why I like using arc armor, because the mods usually give you a secondary effect. So like the first effect is when I'm charged with light, or at least a pulse when I'm surrounded, that damages energy or enemies, and then I get an overshield when I do a finisher. They nerfed this because of the AFK farming from the Dawning. It used to actually be really, really good for like just like clearing shit off. Like if this was the unnerfed version, it would probably have killed most of those thrall, but it's been nerfed to be really inconsistent, which is unfortunate, to say the least. Anyways, oh, I hear the original Destiny theme. I'm just gonna chuck 2 because I don't fucking like this guy. Missed the headshot because I'm very good. You see that overshield? That's what I got from my finisher bulwark. Just do not go past that. Whatever. I'm just gonna waste some ammo here. Remember, champion mods do work on things that aren't champions. Like for instance, unstoppable mods will always stagger an enemy that does not have a shield. And barrier mod, like I think barrier's probably the best one because it's a lot less niche than the other ones. Like you can use it a lot more than you think. Because like you can go through Hydra shields, bypass Hobgoblin regen, Night shields. Very useful mod just in general play. Unstoppable not so much because you have to wait for the proc. Overload just makes things do less damage, which could be helpful. I don't really notice it though. And there he is. See, I staggered both of them because they're in the AoE. Like, it's pretty good at that, but like using this as an actual DPS weapon is really bad, especially when stopped, or just in champions in general because you have such a slow window. Like, see, I only got 1 that time. He's in finisher range, but I'm just gonna take the extra shot to kill his ass. I haven't stunned his friend. I don't know how I shot that one. I'm gonna back my ass up because he's gonna be unstunned very soon. But I think the weapon's breath is pretty underrated. Like it's not the best, but it's not the worst thing ever. It actually does have some use. Oh, that's bad. That's bad. That's bad. So I just went for the finisher right there. Also, Protective Light's probably one of the best mods in the game. You get 50% damage reduction when you reach red health, which is very significant. Most damage reduction usually goes around like 10 or 20, most. Honestly, I feel like if you go flawless, you should be guaranteed an exotic or some shit. I'm just gonna unga bunga the fuck out of this guy right here. I meant to shoulder charge and then do this, but okay, we're doing this now. This is very good saber. Now, if I was smart, I'd be using it to get away, but he should die to the aftershocks. Yeah. Like, I know this sniper really didn't make much of a difference, but there are certain lost sectors where I will run like this setup if I know there's like a unstoppable barrier that will help me out a lot. Like the excavation site, like having a sniper there is very, very helpful. Like you could use a GL with unstoppable and stuff, but it's just the extra range is very helpful. Anyways, that's like my weird little, not even a guide, just me rambling about fucking lost sectors and this one in particular. I think this is probably one of the easiest lost sectors to do because the normal one takes me like 2 minutes and there's a lot less shit you have to worry about. Yeah, I think this is probably the easiest lost sector. I think the moon ones are probably the harder ones for me. I don't know if they're the hardest, but for me, I know a lot of people say they don't like Perdition, or at least the people I talk to, but I think Perdition's really easy on Europa. Concealed Void's kind of annoying, but there's no like lost sector I can think of right now where I'm like, oh shit, avoid this one. Maybe the moon ones. The moon ones can be kind of fucking tedious, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, you can do this on any character. There's no like, oh, you have to be a warlock, you have to be a hunter. You just have different tools on those characters that can make things easier or harder. Like for instance, if I was a hunter, I could run Nighthawk and just nuke the barrier champion, or if I was a warlock, I could use my Bleak Watcher or a Nova Bomb or Controverse Hold, So you got different tools that can make things easier, but it's not like it's impossible to do it on one class, or one class is the best way to do it, I guess, because it depends. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, and I'll probably just run this one again with no commentary, upload that one first, and then upload this one second. I think it's been going on for fucking 35 minutes. Anyways, yeah, thanks for watching.